まずくはない。でも例えようのないこの味なんだ。
原材料はウジ虫エキスだって。
Buenos noches, every pony. Today I'll be taking a look at one of the dumbest and most unique harem anime. It's called My Mental Choices Are Completely Interfering with My School Romantic Comedy, or just My Mental Choices for short. Anyway, I first watched the anime a few years ago, thought it was good, and gave it a low 7 out of 10. And after rewatching it, it's still pretty good, so I guess I'll get into why My Mental Choices is spicy goodness like a boss.
Boy, if you don't get
Kanade Amakusa is a high school boy, however he isn't just a regular high school boy. That's because he's been cursed by God, where he randomly has to make weird and usually inappropriate choices in life. If he doesn't make a choice within a few seconds, then he gets a massive headache, and it'll only go away once he makes one of the few choices. For example, we first see him choose between picking up a Corno magazine and either smelling it or eating it. After getting a headache, he then decides to sniff it, his headache goes away, and then his life goes back to normal.
2 hours later.
That is until he goes to school and sees Furuno, who's a girl that obviously has a crush on him. While he's talking to her, God makes him choose between telling Furuno to let him touch her boobs or to have her touch his boobs.
A few moments later.
Then he has to choose between taking off his shirt and screaming like a Japanese man or take his pants off and scream like an Amazon warrior. Finally, the episode ends with Kanade choosing between an ugly girl or a beautiful girl falling from the sky. Obviously, he's not as dumb as Stephen Hawking, so he picks the beautiful girl and she then lands on top of him. It turns out the girl has amnesia and doesn't remember anything, even her name.
はい、私の名前はですね。
Yeah.
So because she forgot her name, she decides to call herself Chocolate.
Chocolate!
And decides to live with Kanade since she wants his cummy wummies. He gets a call from God who tells him that he can break his curse by completing special missions. These missions include making Furuno laugh, seeing Kogani's panties, and getting a bunch of girls to say that they like him. Also, not only does Kanade have to complete these missions, but he has to do them while still randomly making choices too. So yeah, that's the plot, and as you can tell, it's insanely over the top and stupid, which is why it works so well. It's always fun seeing Kanade make dumb choices, the missions are all interesting, and overall it's just a very entertaining and funny show. It usually doesn't take itself seriously and knows that it works best as a dumb over-the-top rom-com anime. Now as a romance, it's pretty weak. There's barely any developments between Kanade and the girls, but that's not much of a problem. That's because as a harem, and especially comedy, it's great.
なかなかいいケツしてんぜ。俺のそばに近寄るな。
What the fuck? Before my rewatch, I remember the show being funny, but I did not remember it being this funny. There are scenes and even some episodes where I've laughed like 4 times in less than a minute. The comedy is top tier, so many jokes land, and there's so many different kinds of jokes too. There are repeating as well as typical rom-com jokes, but there's also ones that come out of nowhere. In episode 6, there's a bunch of guys that get mad at Kanade for talking to one of the popular girls at school, so they beat the poo-poo out of him. But for some reason, it turns out that one of the guys is gay and says he wants to ram Kanade's ass, which caught me way off guard. This is a show that is highly carried by its comedy. It's so funny that I don't even mind some of the series flaws, although some of them are annoying. There's some minor issues, like in episode 7, where Kanade is about to complete the mission where he needs to get a bunch of girls to say that they like him. When a girl says they like him, his phone vibrates, letting him know that he succeeded. However, in this episode, when a girl called Sayori confesses to him, his phone doesn't vibrate, which doesn't make sense. His phone shows that he did succeed in making her say she likes him, but again, it doesn't ring, even though it rang for everyone else. Because it didn't ring, Kanade realizes that he forgot to make Chocolate say she likes him, which she does, and then he wins. If the phone vibrated, he would have thought he completed the mission, even though it would have just been to let him know that Sayori confessed. This would have resulted in Kanade failing the mission since he forgot about asking Chocolate to confess since she joined the team during the game. This would also mean he wouldn't be able to break the curse, thus ruining his life forever. It's a minor and quick error, however it does have gigantic impacts on the series, so that's kind of a big issue. There's also a montage of people in history making important choices in life in the first episode that goes on for 3.5 minutes. There are some some funny moments during it, and it's unique to have a long montage like this be one of the first scenes in the series. However, it definitely drags on, and might have been added to fill time for the anime, which leads me to another problem. That being that the anime came out not even a full 2 years after the light novel, meaning they most likely didn't have much material to work with. This is most likely why the anime is only 10 episodes long, excluding the OVA. Now, being 10 episodes instead of 12 or 13 isn't really that big of a problem, but still, I wanted more episodes since a good chunk of the series is pretty damn good. This is especially irritating since the last couple episodes are notably weaker than the rest of the show. In episode 8, Chocolate hits her head, somehow regains her memories, and now acts completely differently. She normally acts like a dog and only wants to eat food, but now she's much more normal and shy. Like Fluttershy. That is interesting, and I do like seeing her be a completely different character, but I much prefer how she was before. She also tries to kiss Kanade, which made me jizz in my pants. However, he acts like a bitch and refuses to kiss her, which pissed me off. You have a girl sitting on top of you, asking you to share your saliva with her, yet you say no?
What are you, fucking retarded?
Yeah, this did not make me happy at all. Chocolate does forget everything again by the end of the episode and stays like that for the rest of the show too. If season 2 ever got made, then I'm sure she'd get her memories back again for a short time, so that would have been cool to see. Anyway, the last 2 episodes have the cast go to a water park, and during it, Kanade has to complete his new mission, which is to take a picture of Oka crying. The mission is interesting, however, there's some clear problems with these episodes. For starters, even though the mission is about Oka, she's only in these episodes for about half the time. The other half is a bunch of random scenes with side characters, which while some are fun, they also take away from the main plot. Why are we spending time on these characters instead of Oka? Isn't she supposed to be the main focus? Maybe it's because these are the last 2 episodes and the anime wanted to show off all its characters before it ended, but who knows. Normally I don't have a problem with generic tropes, but did we really need to have a water park episode, especially as the last 2 episodes? The show seems to try and avoid using cliches and tropes, or at least tries to do something new with them. For example, there's the battle against the popular kids in episode 7. It's 5 one-on-one battles and each of them are entirely different. One of them is an improv battle, wrestling, calling each other funny nicknames, and the last which is just rock, paper, scissors. But with these 2 episodes, it's just a day at the water park, and that's pretty much it.
Hey guys, I guess that's it.
Most importantly though is that these episodes aren't nearly as funny as the rest of the show. They still are entertaining and have their moments, but they clearly aren't as funny, which is a problem since its comedy is the show's strongest aspect. If these episodes were just as funny, then I wouldn't be complaining about the lack of focus on finishing the mission or that it takes place in a generic setting. Kanade also pisses me off again since he has to make the choice between confessing to Chocolate, Oka, and Furano. There's a 4th option, which is for something to happen at the park, which is of course what he picks. Like really? You couldn't have picked one of them, started dating them, got married, and then had 10 kids? What the hell is wrong with you?
What are you, fucking retarded?
Anyway, Chocolate then asks Kanade if he likes her, which he says yes, but not in the way that you like me. So he basically rejects her, which again, is really frustrating.
What are you, fucking retarded?
Then it starts snowing, and that's how the anime ends. Yeah, so unfortunately the ending, as well as the last few episodes, aren't so great. They're far from bad and are still decent, but it always sucks to end a solid series on a weak and disappointing note. But anyway, besides its last few episodes, as well as some other problems, Mental Choices is overall a lot of fun, and part of that is due to its characters. Harems usually have cliche characters that have typical tropes, but Mental Choices doesn't have that many generic ones. There are characters that fall under the childhood friend and tsundere types, but for the most part, a lot of its characters are unique and fun. Kanade isn't super bland and unlikable, and overall, he's actually alright. He reminds me a lot of Nagasumi from Mermaid since he's just a normal guy, but has to deal with so much shit in life that isn't his fault at all. That being said, towards the end of the anime, he does start to turn into a generic and frustrating character since he refused to get tongue-tied with Chocolate, but still, he gets a pass. Anyway, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for the Waifu Wars, where I officially rank each girl from worst to breast. It's piss and poo-poo time.
Damn!
Seira is the student council president, is one of the most popular girls in school, but more importantly is also worst girl. She clearly knows something about Kanade's curse, and I'm guessing she's the one who put it on him. So if that's true, then she's an asshole and deserves to be worst girl. But if I'm wrong and that's not true, then she's still worst girl because everyone else is just better. Konagi is another one of the most popular girls in school. She's very innocent and shy and is also BFFs with Oka, so that's pretty cash money. The reason she's so low on the list is because she's not that interesting, and again, everyone else is just better. Yuragi is Kanade's childhood friend, however she isn't just your typical Harem childhood friend character. Instead, Yuragi has a little sister complex and loves calling herself everyone's little sister. That's hashtag weird, but whatever. It's something that no other Harems have done before, and more importantly, it's funny, so yeah. Ayami is the big boba girl, and holy moly guacamole is she super duper HAWT hot. She's one of the most popular girls in school, and she's also an asshole rich chick too. Even though her tits are bigger than Mount Rushmore, they weren't always as giant and plump as they are now. That's because she got breast implants a while ago, because bigger is better. Oka is one of the main girls and is also one of the least popular girls in school since she's very weird. You would think there'd be guys going after her since she's hashtag kawaii, but I guess not. Also, she likes wearing spats. Despite what some of you viewers might think, Utagi is in fact not a loli. She's Kanade's homeroom teacher and just looks like a kid. Don't believe me? Well, according to CNN's webpage, she's actually 29 years old. That's right. 29 years old. Why is she super short and looks like a 5th grader? I've got no idea. Plus, it's more fun not knowing. Anyway, Utagi suffered from the same curse Kanade has, so she understands why he does all these weird things in class and even tries to help him too. But yeah, she's pretty funny and I wish we got to see more of her. Furano would basically be the tsundere of the series, although she's far from your typical tsundere. Her personality is really weird, like I don't even know how to describe it. She acts like not a normal girl, I guess, even though deep down she is a normal girl. She just has this weird social illness or something. I don't know, but I don't care since she's second breast girl. Speaking of breasts, hers are small and she wishes they were bigger.
That's cause Jesus Christ is my nigga.
Yep, that's right. Chocolate is best girl since she's cute, weird, and weird. She's pretty much useless since she has amnesia and all, but that's okay since she's really funny. Her personality isn't bad when she regains her memories, but she's much more fun when she acts like a dog.
What the dog doing?
Anyway, I'm going to assume that in the light novel, Kanade ends up choosing her, so this will be one of the rare times where best girl actually wins. So hooray, my mental choices. Congratulations, you're a winner. You've won the prize. But if I ever end up reading the light novel and find out that chocolate doesn't win, then I'm going to...
I'm Glenn Quagmire.
The anime was animated by Studio Deal Media, and it actually doesn't look half bad. Characters are on model, designs are good, colors are nice, animation isn't bad, etc. Nothing that will blow your mind JFK style, but still, it easily gets a pass.
I like turtles.
The soundtrack was yet another unexpected surprise. Just like its art, it's nothing groundbreaking, but a lot of the tracks aren't half bad or forgettable generic slop either. There is, however, one song that slaps harder than Will Smith. But besides that one song, and maybe one or two others, I wouldn't re-listen to the entire soundtrack again, but still, overall, it's okay.
Okay.
Now, normally this is the part where I complain that there's no dub, I get all mad and I throw up in my sink or something. However, this might be one of the extremely rare times where I don't actually mind there being no dub. The sub is great, and yeah, I know, subs are usually great, so that's no surprise. But considering this is a comedy and a lot of jokes work much better when they're spoken instead of being read, that's pretty impressive. Like, yeah, if the series ever does get dubbed and has great actors, then it'd probably just be as good or even better than this. That's why Panion's talking stub is so great, because instead of just reading all the slurs, you actually hear and understand them. Anyway, who knows? Maybe I'm just being retarded again, but either way, I love the sub.
If I can prove that I never touched my balls, will you promise not to tell another soul what you saw?
Well, that was my mental choices are completely interfering with my school romantic comedy, and it was pretty good. The premise is insanely over the top and stupid, its characters are fun, and it can be hilarious a good chunk of the time. However, it does have some flaws, most notably its last couple episodes, which are just okay, as well as its ending being disappointing. But even with its problems, it's still a solid series, which is why I'm giving Joe Biden Can't Be This Mentally Ill a 7.72 out of 10. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it and want to see more, you can help by leaving a like, comment, sharing, and subscribing. You can also support me on Patreon and can now even become a member of my channel here on YouTube. Anything helps, and I appreciate every single one of you guys and girls. Anyway, peace out, bronies, and remember to vote for Donald J. Trump this November.
Ah, お腹が鳴りました。